welcome to the Cinescape podcast, where we're changing the landscape of movie and TV news and reviews. Don't fret here. We are back-to-back Sunday action here. We were on last week. We're broadcasting again today, so don't lose your shit over what you're about to be hearing. Good afternoon from a second Sunday in a row. I am one of your hosts, Sean Harrigan. Along with me is my great co-host, Bill Rowdy Tazzy.
Woo!
What's going on, Billy boy?
Not much, man.
Not much, man.
Were you about to scuffle with me today?
Yeah, we almost had an altercation in the parking lot
Yeah.
when we were pulling up here earlier today.
Yeah.
What? Bill, tell them what happened.
Well, New Jersey's finest on a dreary Sunday here in Westville, New Jersey. We were en route to the studio here, and one of Jersey's finest in a beat up BMW was not looking and attempted to pull out in front of me into traffic, and sure enough, I denied him because basically there was not enough room to allow him to scoot out there. And so then he was behind us, and he started throwing, middle fingers and, making all kinds of gyrations in the car, and he tries to get up on my ass and stuff like that. And then we turn into the studio, and he follows us in, and he starts calling me, yo, cuz, which is part of the dialect down here in South Jersey, and
yo, cuz. That's a Mike Chrisman quote.
Yeah,
there.
he said he was going to kick both our asses. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
and good luck with that, pal. And then he proceeded to spit out his car window, which, since he was in the driver's seat, he had to spit out his passenger window, which he just did not have the trajectory nor the distance to make that spit wad hit my car. So sure enough, most of the spit landed on his car, thus just leaving him.
And it's funny because he looks like a spitter too.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Son of a bitch must pay.
Oh, he would have paid. Would have paid dearly. But we were able to diffuse the situation, just being calm and being ourselves. And
fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Go
jerk off.
Yeah, swag. So
This really pisses me off to no end.
yeah, and he said he was going to be waiting in the next parking lot over or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be waiting out here, and then he wasn't.
No,
we went and looked.
We walked and looked.
He pieced out.
We were curious.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
Get out of here, pal. Go play badminton or something. I don't know. Whatever.
So yeah, we shit happens, and we dealt with it, and we're here to bring you the latest entertainment to pass your Sunday by. We are not joined by our producer Michael Francolino today. We have some news for you guys. His mother is actually in the hospital, and he's with her, so he's not able to be with us today. So we're gonna send our well wishes to Mrs. Francolino.
Yes.
Get better soon. But we are joined by DJ behind the monitors today. What's up, DJ?
Hey, Mal.
What's going on, man?
Not much. A little update on Mike's mom. I believe she is home playing her Warcraft.
Good to know. Good to know.
Good, yeah.
She missed that more than anything. She didn't care about the heart. She had to get back to her character.
Yeah. Doctor, am I going to be able to play Warcraft?
Well,
will I have a heart attack in a raid?
I hope he's not going to be giving her that homemade macaroni and cheese I saw him posting earlier.
Oh, God.
Probably not good for the arteries.
No. I'm trying to eat healthy. Let me make this greasy dish.
It looked good, though.
It did.
After we had just scarfed down a whole Little Caesars pizza.
Oh my God, we probably set a record for how quick you could eat one of Little Caesars hot and ready pizzas, because we picked one up. We started eating that just about as soon as we pulled it out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
And we probably finished that by the time we hit the Frankfurt Ave. Was it Frankfurt? Maybe even Woodhaven.
Yeah, it might have been Woodhaven.
By the Woodhaven exit off at 95.
It lasted less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Regular set of Ninja Turtles in the studio.
Oh, yeah. It's pizza time. So we are going to have an action-packed show for you guys today. We have not one, but two guests calling in. In just a couple of minutes, we have Access Hollywood's Scott Mantz calling in. So we're going to be talking with him. He was actually at the Oscar ceremony and got to see that La La Land Moonlight Blunder. So we're going to ask him what all happened with that and his take on it. And then later on in the show, we have from Syfy's Face Off show, we have competitor Melissa calling in. She's going to talk to us about her experience on the show and some of the work that she is doing outside of that. So that's going to be not one, but two great interviews, two great guests.
Looking forward to it.
We wanted to let you know that today's show is brought to you by Alternate Dimension Toys. Stop in today for the largest collection of toys, collectibles, and Funko Pop figures. It is located in Newtown, Pennsylvania. Stop in, say hello to the shop owner, Andy.
Maybe if we have time, we should just call him.
Maybe we should. Well, hopefully he's listening to the show right now in the shop. So, Andy, if you're listening, shoot me an email or something, and we'll.
Or just call in to 856-345-9988. DJ will answer the phone, and you just tell him who you are, and just call in, and we'll have a chat.
I love it.
Call in the Coffee Talk. Call in the Cinescape's Coffee Talk, where we'll be drinking coffee,
which is beer.
Which is
Irish coffee.
Welcome to Beer Talk. I'm B, and we're smoking Virginia Slims over here, and
that's what Mike's mom smokes too.
That's what my mom used to smoke.
Yours too.
Well, I hung out with both your mothers, and we all smoked Virginia Slims. Okay, let me tell you, the Cadillac's in the shop this weekend. Okay, they had to put a new ball bearing in the car. I don't know why it needs a ball bearing, but it apparently helps the car drive really straight. So right now I got a rental. It's a beautiful little Toyota Corolla. It's small, but it's good on gas. But nothing beats the Cadillac, honey. I'll just tell you, the Cadillac, it's like driving a yacht down the highway. It's beautiful. I can't tell you anything better about a Cadillac. DJ, what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a Pontiac.
A Pontiac.
A Pontiac.
Oh, I once had sex with a man in the back of a Pontiac. It was a Bonneville. What kind of car do you have?
It's a Bonneville.
It's a Bonneville? Oh, my God. Jesus. Oh, God. You're not him, are you? No, you couldn't be, honey. You're just not my type.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. So now that we got that out of the way.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Well, while we are waiting for Scott Mantz to call in, he should be calling in the next minute or so.
Scott!
We're going to get into our short TV buzz segment. We only have two short stories for you guys today. The first one, CBS has announced that The Big Bang Theory has been renewed for seasons 11 and 12. We know that we're getting the Young Sheldon prequel spin-off series.
Don't really care about that.
So, I forgot to load the Bazinga sound. So Bazinga. But if you're a fan of that show, I mean, I watch it. Like I was saying last week, I don't watch it.
I
the
never
new
watched it.
episodes while they're like airing live. I'll just watch the reruns, the syndication on TBS.
And you would think, for as big of a nerd as I am, that it would be a show that I would get into. But,
there are lots of nerdy Star Trek references
I know.
comic book stuff.
I've seen, I heard. I've just never
partaken.
Never dabbled in the show.
Well, that's not for everyone.
Right.
But, if you find yourself just in the, on a Wednesday night or something, laying on the couch, and you have nothing better to do for the 3 hours, just watch back-to-back episodes.
I'll try.
All right.
I'm not going to make any promises.
Let us know how you do with that.
I will.
All right, we'll keep you guys updated on that.
But during a Reddit Ask Me Anything session, Ubisoft executive Amar Aziza confirmed that an Assassin's Creed television series is in the works, saying, "It's like the movie, guys. We will take our time to get sure we deliver something we can be proud of, but if you wonder if it's on our plan, yes." What do you think about this?
Oh, I am a huge fan of the game series.
Yeah, and I know you have been.
Yeah,
yes.
I really was looking forward to the movie that came out in December.
Yeah.
But after hearing, the critical backlash that was coming out with it from both critics and fans, Jesus, tongue-tied here. Just bashing on how bad this movie actually was. I
didn't get to see it. Did you?
So I still haven't watched it. I know it actually just came out on Blu-ray this week. So I'll check it out. as it's out now. But I don't have too high expectations for it. It's something that I wanted to love, but when I do watch it, I'll be sure to write up a review and post it up.
Yeah, definitely. We should try and watch it soon, so we have some reviews for it. But yeah, I mean, that pretty much wraps up our TV buzz for today. But we do have our caller calling in, I believe. Let's hang on tight here. DJ?
DJ's working on... I heard him answer the phone, but I think he's working on getting him back. So, ooh, he might have him now.
He might.
I have a nice sound clip queued up for him as soon as he puts him over. He is a big Star Trek fan, much like yourself.
Whoa.
So I have...
I'll try and not command the interview too much.
Towards the end, I'll throw it over to you. I'll let you talk Trek.
We'll see.
Oh, no. We're good?
We're good. We got him patched in. Okay.
Joining us today is the great movie Mantz himself, Scott Mantz. Scotty, how's it going today, brother?
How are you, man? All right. Thanks for that great intro music.
I figured you'd love it. So, Scott, real quick, you and I had actually gotten the chance to meet while we were in New York last month for the Logan premiere and press junket. I had seen you outside of the theater at the bar there, and I just went up to you, said hello, mentioned that I had seen you on like Schmoes, all those kinds of shows on there, and we just struck up a conversation. I wound up talking to you for a couple minutes that time, and then a couple other times throughout the weekend, and you were just the coolest guy, and I asked you to call into our show, and here you are, and you graciously obliged, so thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, that was an excellent conversation after an excellent movie.
Yes.
And, listen, we're all connected. We're all connected. Everybody sees each other. We all see each other at these press junkets and press screenings. And, it's such a small little pool when you get us all together. We're sort of spread all over the place in the U.S., but in the end, we're all sort of like popping up on each other's shows, on each other's podcasts, and it's all good for everybody. It's all good. Most importantly, it's all good for the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you think about Logan while we have you here?
Oh, I thought it was great. I really thought James Mangold topped himself because I really liked The Wolverine, the movie that came out in 2013. I think people were kind of mixed on that one because it didn't feel like a superhero movie. But that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, and I don't think Logan really did either.
Movie. It felt like a samurai movie, because it takes place over in Japan. And, at this stage, and especially with Logan, the latest movie, at this stage, these superhero movies, the whole genre has sustained itself now for the last 17 years, starting with the first X-Men in July of 2000. And, like when I was growing up, the Superman movies from the 70s and the 80s came and went. And then, the Batman films, the first wave of Batman films in 89 and throughout the early 90s came and went. But it wasn't until the first X-Men in 2000 that the genre planted its flag and from there evolved. Like you had the X-Men film sort of ran into the Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and then that led into the Dark Knight trilogy, and then those led into the MCU, which is actually unprecedented in Hollywood history what Marvel has done with the MCU. But because they sustained themselves and they keep sort of cranking them out now, the danger is that they start to feel conventional or formulaic. And amazingly, Marvel has really sort of avoided that because Kevin Feige is a friggin' genius. But especially in the case of the Wolverine and now Logan, these movies feel fresh and they feel different because they are different. And I think that's really, really important if the genre is going to stay where it is and continue to evolve. Because otherwise it'll come and go like any other genre, like Westerns or, stuff like that. But I loved Logan, and there have been some nice surprises in recent years, like, last summer, Ant-Man as a movie I did not expect to like at all. And I loved it because it felt like a family movie. It was had a real kid-friendly vibe to it. And I think that it's really important for these films. I love these movies. Very, very excited I know everyone's excited about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm more excited about Spider-Man Homecoming because Spider-Man has always been my number one favorite comic book character.
Mine as well.
Since I was a little kid. You know what I mean? Like, I've read the comics. I've read them from the late 70s until the mid-90s. And Spider-Man was always my favorite because he was a character that I related to. He's just the blue-collar kid from New York, having problems, can't pay his rent, having a problem really keeping a romantic relationship. And by the way, he's got these powers and doesn't really help him with his personal problems.
Right,
and I just thought that was very relatable. And I thought that the first Amazing Spider-Man directed by Mark Webb was good. I feel like Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a little underrated. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
Oh, I hated it.
And you hated it?
Yeah, sure did.
No, listen, I get it. I'm in the minority on that. And I'm cutting it slack because I just love the character. But I'm real excited about what John Watts has in store for Spider-Man Homecoming. The stuff they showed at Comic-Con last summer, and definitely the new trailer really has that vibe that he's back in high school and he's and I love the stuff with Robert Downey Jr. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and absolutely the name Homecoming is so fitting. Him coming back to the Marvel Universe and being included with all the other Avengers characters. They couldn't have picked a better name, in my opinion.
And listen, Captain America: Civil War last summer, I loved it. It was definitely one of the best movies in the MCU. Ironically, after Captain America: Civil War, Winter Soldier, which I thought was the best. But Spider-Man in that film, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, the stuff in Queens when Tony Stark goes to Peter Parker's apartment to sort of recruit him to the Avengers, I thought that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I think it's comes out July 7th, and I'm just really, really pumped for it. And I'm also pumped for Thor. The third movie coming out in I think it's October or November.
November, yeah.
And
like November 6th.
Listen, of all the movies in the MCU, I feel like the first two Thor movies are the weakest. The first one was okay, but the second one was not very good. But the third one, I feel it looks like they're gonna shake it up a little bit. They cut his hair. The cover photo on Entertainment Weekly. But it sounds like they're gonna like sort of go for it because they really didn't go for it with the first two movies.
And Scott, this is Bill. James Gunn just came out yesterday and just said that he saw the new trailer for Thor and that it is the best Marvel trailer as to date. So, when you have a fellow director in the franchise saying that about a movie, that competes with his own, it's something that definitely sets the tone for the whole franchise as a whole. And I think we're both excited too because we're products of the '80s here. So to know that this movie is going to have a little bit of 80s undertones, especially with the fact that we have Tango and Cash, reassembling throughout the franchise and Guardians. It's just one thing after another that just gives you those nostalgic feels.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And also, by the way, we're talking about pleasant surprises. I know I mentioned Ant-Man being a real pleasant surprise, and I thought that Paul Rudd just crushed it. It was awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
What else was a pleasant surprise? And and again, just proving just how Marvel really knows what it's doing. Doctor Strange was great.
Yeah,
Scott Derrickson did a great job directing that movie. And at an age when fanboys like us are totally jaded with great special effects.
Yeah.
Special effects in Doctor Strange were freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I know it looked a little bit like Inception a little bit, but it still was pretty jaw-dropping.
And that might be one of my favorite Marvel superheroes that has come out to date. That for a standalone character to do what that movie did, it really is a testament to some of the struggles that they've had with other characters so far.
I agree. I completely agree. I thought that Benedict Cumberbatch was terrific in the film. And again, it was a superhero movie. It's in the MCU, but it was had a more supernatural element to it. and it did feel a little bit different. And like guys, we're in this now. We're watching these movies come out year after year, sometimes a couple of MCU movies a year.
Yeah, at least two usually.
It's pretty amazing, and I think that, like, if you take a step back and you look at the history of movies in the last 120 years.
Right.
So here you have Marvel Studios starting in 2008 with the first Iron Man. And so at the end of that movie, you had the bonus scene with Nick Fury where he says to Tony Stark, "I want you to join the Avengers Initiative," which is like one of the best bonus scenes in movie history. But
agreed.
So over the years, then you have like Captain America, you have Thor, and then it all leads up to the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. Then you have more Captain Americas, a couple more Iron Mans, and then it leads into Avengers 2. So you have like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. But if you take a step back and you look at the way Marvel Studios has adopted the model that Marvel Comics did in the 1960s with having the characters pop in and out of each other's comic books.
Yeah.
What they've done as a Hollywood studio is unprecedented. It is really unprecedented, and it is trailblazing. It is revolutionary. I mean, yeah, it's their comic book movies and it's mass entertainment, and that's all fine and dandy and everything. But when we look back, we meaning like film historians and critics and even fans of comic book movies, look back, let's say 20 or 30 years from now, we're going to look back at this period of time, the first 2 decades of the 21st century, at what Marvel Studios has done. And people are going to write books about the way Marvel has changed the game. People are going to they're going to be teaching film classes. I know I'm jumping the gun here, but I feel like people are going to be teaching film classes about the way Marvel sort of rewrote the book in terms of making, marketing, and promoting films. It's really super exciting with people like us who really love these movies anyway, but to sort of like work in the business in some way, shape, or form like we do and cover it, like we're pretty damn lucky.
It's definitely a unique business model that they have, and it's so profitable that it certainly gives them leverage when they want to go to a studio like Sony and say, "Hey, listen, we have ideas for the Spider-Man character. This is how we'd like to approach it," and to win the business, to have them integrate that character, and it you just know as a competing studio that, for the right reason, why wouldn't you let this company do what they know what's best and let them have their share with it? Because it's certainly one that you can't refute that they don't know what they're doing. And I certainly agree with you that 10, 20 years from now, things are going to be said about how they conduct themselves, because 20, 30 years ago, you would only get a comic book movie once every 10 years because nobody wasn't able to, cohesively blend characters into a movie with one another. Nobody was saying, "Hey, how can we, constructively do this?" Now, like you just said, you throw a character in the movie, 2-3 years before they're set to have their own solo movie. So the audience is familiar already with the character, with their persona, and it just sells so much more easily. So I totally agree with you.
I completely agree with that. And when Sony finally sort of waved the flag and surrendered to Marvel Studios, said, "Okay, guys, Marvel Studios and Disney, all right, Spider-Man is one of the most beloved superhero comic book characters of all time. The last couple of films, like The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012, I mean, it was fine as a standalone movie, but it wasn't different enough from the 2002 movie in terms of its origin to really justify its existence." And like you said, a lot of people did not like the second film, the second Amazing movie with Andrew Garfield. And any character deserves to be saved. It's Spider-Man. And look, we've only seen like a couple minutes of footage between, what they showed at Comic-Con and the new trailer. But it's I feel like, sort of integrating him into the MCU and the Avengers, which, Spider-Man in the comics sort of dabbled with the Avengers. He was in, then he wasn't, then he dabbled in, he was in for a little bit. And, he always worked better as a loner. I mean, he, he was going to join the Fantastic Four in the very first issue of Spider-Man, but decided not to when he found out that it didn't pay. He had to pay his bills. Not a lot of people know that. But in terms of all these comic book movies, not just MCU, not just the DC movies, but also the movies produced by or distributed by other studios like Fox with X-Men and Daredevil and Sony with Spider-Man. My number one favorite comic book movie is Spider-Man 2 from 2004, the Tobey Maguire one.
Right,
I feel like that is it is a perfect movie. It is a complete, perfect adaptation of Amazing Spider-Man number 50 from 1967 with that famous red cover that says Spider-Man No More on it. Tobey was a great Peter Parker. It was a coming-of-age movie about a superhero. That last look on Mary Jane's face after Peter Parker swings out of his apartment and she goes, "Go get him, Tiger." And, she's got that look of concern and fades to black. I thought it was a perfect movie, really up there with the first Superman, which is still the gold standard.
And we had Nickelback on that soundtrack too, so that that definitely helped.
That's the first one.
No, that was the second one, wasn't it?
The first one.
Oh, come on, man.
This was actually Scott. Did you watch the latest Schmodown matchup from the other day?
No, I haven't seen it. Which one?
Or it was the team matchup, the Schmoes versus Top 10.
Oh,
from Tuesday.
Broke a win.
Yeah, they did. And that was actually that was the losing question that Ellis had. Which Spider-Man movie did Nickelback do a song for the soundtrack? And he had guessed Spider-Man 2, but it was actually the first Spider-Man. And I had thought that it was Spider-Man 2 as well. So I'm going on IMDb, looking up the soundtrack. I'm like, son of a bitch, it actually was the first one.
Well, how about that? Yeah. Wow. I mean, listen, it's hard to believe. The first Spider-Man, directed by Raimi, is now 15 years old. It came out May of 2002. And I remember when the very first teaser trailer for the first Spider-Man started showing in theaters at the end of the summer of 2001. It was that image of Spider-Man capturing the helicopter by spinning the web in between the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center.
Yeah,
and,
very iconic.
As soon as 9/11 happened, they stopped, obviously for sentimental or for sensitive reasons, they stopped selling that image. Everybody stopped selling any image that had the World Trade Center in it. But that's how far back Spider-Man goes. And, I love the first one. Second one is perfection. Third one is underrated. Again, I'm cutting it slack because I just love the character. But, I really have very strong hopes and that Homecoming will be great. But, listen, the summer is kicking off with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and that's going to be awesome. But why can't I really want DC to get its act together?
Did you see the trailer, Scott? The new Justice League trailer?
Yeah, okay, I'm in. I mean, how do you not be in?
Right.
But they just, they've been stumbling. The Man of Steel, I did not like. I did not like Batman v Superman. I hated Suicide Squad. I think that they're trying so hard to catch up to Marvel that they're sacrificing quality in terms of just putting stuff out there. And,
right.
We're not dummies. We're not just going to take anything. I mean, we want a good movie, and so far DC in terms of establishing a cinematic universe in itself has yet to deliver. Wonder Woman, I hope Wonder Woman kicks ass. She certainly looks like she will. But, who knows? I thought that Suicide Squad was going to be great, and it was a mess.
We all kind of thought that. And you know what, Scott? Sean will testify to this point. I have fallen asleep during every DC movie that has come out in the theaters to date. So every DC
time.
We've gone and seen every DC movie when it's come out on premiere night, and I have fallen asleep during each one of them so far. So, I agree. I'm hoping that Wonder Woman changes the tone for me and keeps me alive and awake during the entire process. But we're not going to find out until the next showing. So hopefully they can grab my attention in this next one.
When I reviewed Man of Steel and I said, I didn't like it. I thought Superman was bland. I got a lot of flack, especially on Twitter and social media. that I was too hung up on the Richard Donner 1978 movie with Christopher Reeve. Well, yeah, I am hung up on that version because that is the gold standard with how you do a superhero movie. First of all, the score by John Williams is, absolutely unforgettable. And
it's right up there with the most iconic
Hal
scores.
Rudnick, totally iconic. And then you have the way the movie is structured in three parts. You got the stuff on Krypton, which feels very sci-fi. The stuff in Smallville, which feels like a Douglas Sirk movie. And then the stuff in Metropolis, which feels like His Girl Friday. And then Gene Hackman is still one of the best comic book villains, movie villains, in movie history. The way he played Lex Luthor, he was so awesome. And Christopher Reeve gave not one, but two dynamic performances. One is Clark Kent, bumbling and charming and really sweet. And then completely irresistible as Superman. I always love that scene in Superman 2 when, just to capture just how much Christopher Reeve was so perfect in the role, and what made him just so endearing. The scene when Lois Lane is trapped under the Eiffel Tower, and the cables go off, and the elevator is falling, free fall, and then Superman swings right up under the elevator and stops it, and Lois Lane looks up in shock, and Superman looks at her and says, "I believe this is your floor." I mean, come on. Come on.
Speaking of something else that I know that you're hung up on, you are the champion of promoting La La Land.
I love that
So
movie.
if anybody who's listening knows you, we know your affinity for the movie. You were saying in our email exchanges, you were at the Oscar ceremony and you got to see that whole debacle unfold right in front of your eyes. Can you walk us through, what was going on during the time and how you were feeling?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that question. And before I answer, I have to sort of build it up, because when I first saw La La Land at the Telluride Film Festival, it was Labor Day weekend, last September 2nd, which was a Friday. It was at 2:30 p.m. at the Chuck Jones Theater at the top of the gondola in Telluride. And there was no hype. Like, it hadn't really there was one screening of it overseas at the Venice Film Festival 2 days before. But other than that, no one was really talking about it. There was no hype. I mean, no one had seen it. No one had seen it at all. So when I saw it, there was no hype at all. I didn't know what to expect. I expected nothing except a good movie from Damien Chazelle, who did Whiplash. But when I saw La La Land for the very first time, I did fall in love with this movie for so many reasons. It feels like a throwback to musicals of the 50s, but it's not too much of a throwback. It still feels very current and contemporary. And by and large, I'm really not a big musical person. There have been some exceptions over the years, like Grease and Chicago and Moulin Rouge. But what I liked about La La Land, it's not one musical. It's not one song after another. It's, sporadic. But also, when they do the dance numbers, they do them in complete takes, and they show the full frame, full body. There's no zooms and there's no edits.
Yeah,
It's all
like how they
one
did
take.
Les Mis.
You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty daring as a filmmaker to shoot it that way. And I appreciated that. I certainly appreciated it more the second time I saw it, because I was able to look closer to it. And I felt like Damien Chazelle and Justin Hurwitz really nailed the tone of the movie from start to finish. I loved the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. I thought they were just irresistible. And I've always really just loved Emma Stone. I think that I always felt like, I would see her in anything. I mean, I just really ever since she really broke through with Easy A, which was a teen comedy that transcended the genre because of her performance, I'm like, I'll watch her in anything. I loved her in The Help. I loved her in the Woody Allen movies. I definitely loved her in Birdman. And I thought that she just crushed it as Mia in La La Land, because she had to do a lot more than people really gave her credit for, even though she won the Oscar now, because she had to sing, she had to dance, sometimes at the same time. She had to do drama, she had to do comedy, and she's very funny. She had to be in love, she had to break down, and the feeling, ultimately, then this is what I've really related to being, out here in Los Angeles for 26 years, is that these people met, they're built into their own things, their own dreams, and they help each other. They inspire each other. They elevate each other to go to the next level. But, guys, the very thing that drew them together also broke them up. And I understand that. I've been there. I know the feeling. And doesn't mean you don't love each other, because that look they gave each other at the end of the movie, I mean, they're always going to have that. And they're always going to, love each other because of the time that they had together. And I thought that movie just, nailed all of that. Yeah. So, yes, for the last 6 months, from September 2nd up until the Oscars on the 26th? Or 24th. And I was not only championing it, but back in September when I was doing my rap from Telluride in Toronto, I was like, this is it. This is going to win Best Picture, and it should. And I was like,
and we thought it did.
For 2 minutes and 29 seconds, it did. And I was on the air on Access Hollywood saying, this is the one. Wait till you see it when it comes out December 8th. You're going to love it. And I was sort of someone said, hey, way to jump on the bandwagon. And my response was, I am the bandwagon.
Yeah, you're driving the bandwagon.
I really believed in the film, and look, I loved Moonlight too. And I said, well, if Moonlight wins, I'll be perfectly happy to see that win, because it's a great movie for different reasons. But, by the way, just before I get to the Oscars, just to show you how cool Emma Stone is. So when I saw the film at Telluride on the 2nd, the following week on September 12th in Toronto at the Toronto Film Festival, I was doing interviews, covering premieres for Access Hollywood. So on the 12th, which was a Monday, at the Princess of Wales Theatre in Toronto, they had the premiere for La La Land. Now, the position that we had, it's always like a lottery system. The festival will put you where they decide they want to put you, but miraculously, they put me in the first position on the carpet. So as soon as the talent walked in the door, I was their first interview, and I thought, great, this is the movie I want to be in the first position for. So, Ryan comes in, Damien comes in, then Emma Stone comes in. And I had interviewed her before, especially for the Spider-Man films. So, and she was wearing this pretty yellow dress. She looked just like me in the film. And I said to her on September 12th, this movie is going to connect on the romantic level that Titanic connected. And she was like, whoa, wow, okay, that's my favorite movie of all time. Thank you. And I hope you're right.
Yeah.
But who knows, So that was September 12th. So then at the Critics' Choice Awards, because I'm a member of the Broadcast Film Critics, they put me at the La La Land table, and I sat right next to Emma Stone. So, we're just talking in between commercial breaks. She was super cool. She's very laid back. And then at the SAG Awards at the end of January, this was a week and a half after the Oscar nominations. And La La Land was nominated for 14 Oscars, the same number as Titanic. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I called it. I knew it. I knew it was going to connect like Titanic. So at the SAG Awards, Emma Stone's there. She's there with her brother. Her brother Spencer was with her at all the award shows throughout the season. So she comes up to the podium, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Great. I love it. It's awesome. So I said to her on camera, this is 5 months after the Toronto premiere. I said, do you remember what we talked about in Toronto? And she goes, yes. And I said, what was it? And I thought, oh, shit, what if she doesn't remember and it's on camera? I don't want to make her look bad. But without missing a beat, guys, she says, you said it would be like Titanic.
Wow.
And I thought, yeah, wow. I thought 5 months, she must have done 300 interviews around the world. And she completely, totally, without hesitation, remembered the conversation we had 5 months before in Toronto. I went, you know what? That's cool.
Well, so you just have such a charming personality, Scott, that everybody has to remember you.
Well, listen, I mean, okay, so it's the Oscars, okay? We're at the Oscars, and I was so excited. I've been to the Oscars 11 times, covering for Access, and being inside. And I usually sit like way up at the top, but I'm just happy to be inside. And I always like spend most of the time at the bar on the ground floor because that's where all the action is. That's where all the celebrities come out and hang out during the show. Well, in this particular case, we were sitting in the first mezzanine, which is the balcony right above where the nominees sit. And I was like right in the center. So the seats, guys, they were amazing, like amazing. So I was like, okay, if I was going to have these kind of seats at any Oscar show where, Moonlight, La La Land, and Arrival were all nominated for so many awards, this is the one because I loved Arrival too. So then let's just cut to the chase, end of the show. Okay. Now, I mean, just everywhere, like whether it's Access or Headline News, CNN, some of the other local LA stations here, I was saying, this is it. This is the one. It's going to win Best Picture. It's the moment of truth. Okay. Faye Dunaway, Warren Beatty come walking out. It's a Bonnie and Clyde reunion. So from where I was sitting, he opens up the envelope and he's looking at the card and he's not saying the winner. So I sat forward in my chair and I shook my head and I smiled and I went, come on, Warren, don't keep us in suspense. A couple of people turned around and looked at me like, yeah, he's really playing this out. So then Faye Dunaway goes, La La Land. And I went, yeah, woohoo. And like everyone's like looking around like, wow, what's wrong with this guy? So then I took a selfie emoji with a big happy face, big smile, put it on Twitter. It said, La La Land Best Picture winner emoji. And then I hear a couple of stagehands who were not mic'd. They did not have their headsets on or anything. So people at home who were watching it on TV anywhere didn't hear what people in attendance heard. They were like, no, wait. So for a split second, I looked up and I went, uh-oh. Now, it all happened very fast, but in a split second, guys, I thought someone was rushing the stage to crash the Oscars. Because after all the, political upheaval that we had, during the election and after the election, if anybody was going to make a statement, that was the time.
Yeah.
Because it was Best Picture. It was the end of the night. Everyone was watching. And I thought that somebody was going to crash the Oscars. And then, like almost immediately, like the third producer from La La Land, steps up to the mic and says, I want to thank my wife. And by the way, we lost. And I went, what? So then Jordan Harwitz, the guy who gave the first speech, he goes, no, there's been a mistake. Moonlight is the winner. And everybody in the audience, we're looking around at each other like, what, is this a joke? And he literally says at that moment, this is not a joke. Seriously, Moonlight, you win. And he holds up the envelope to the camera. The camera zooms in. It says Moonlight. And suddenly, it's like craziness. Like everybody's like crazy and like in shock, and they come up to the stage and I'm sitting there going like, first thing I did was I deleted my tweet with the happy emoji. I took another selfie, this one with a totally confused look on my face. I'm like, what the F just happened? I posted that instead, and that got retweeted a few times. But so then, like, Warren Beatty is like, I wasn't trying to be funny, and Jimmy Kimmel makes a few jokes, and while the Moonlight producer, Barry Jenkins, the director, he didn't get to give the speech that he wanted to give, but they won, and then that was it. So that's the last part of the show, and everybody's leaving, and everybody's filing out of Dolby Theater, and I'm like walking
still
with
sitting
the flow
in your
of the
seat,
crowd. and like totally in a daze. I had to step out of the crowd, and I like sort of leaned against the wall of the theater, and I went, "What happened?"
I think everybody thought that, you're riding high on those emotions, and then a mishap like that occurs. You don't know if it's staged or if it's real or what the feels are.
Well, it was the biggest moment in Oscar history. I mean, that much is for sure. And I got to tell you, even up until that moment, before that even happened, I thought the show was great. I thought Jimmy Kimmel was great. I thought the opening number with Justin Timberlake was awesome. Viola Davis's acceptance speech was great. And I went, but, and the 3.5 hours really flew by, which usually they don't. And I just thought, well, this is a great show. And then that happened. So I went to the Lionsgate party, which, Lionsgate produced La La Land. And, some of the executives and publicists there, they knew that I was very much a champion of the film. And like one of the publicists was like, "You're the first person I thought of when all that went down."
Right. Yeah.
And I saw Damien Chazelle a little later that night at that party, and he gave me a big hug, and he was like, "Listen, it's all good. It was a great night." And he was like, "Thank you for all of your support. We really were beyond grateful, and we couldn't have done it without you." I mean, it was like really nice the way they were all like they knew who I was, because I had interviewed them, and I was everywhere on Access and other shows and on social media, just pushing the hell out of it. But when I woke up the next morning and I kept watching the playback on my DVR, then it hit me. And this was something I wasn't able to see, from where the stage was, or much less appreciate, because I was in freaking shock. But what immediately struck me was, so it happened. And the way Jordan Horowitz was like, "No, guys, you win. And he was like, "Wow, it was actually really cool." Like, he was it was a class act, the way he just he didn't throw a fit. I mean, he didn't look upset. He was like, "No, guys, you win." And then you have all that diversity on the stage. You had the mostly white producers of La La Land, the mostly black producers of Moonlight, and they're all hugging each other, and they're all like the show of unity and grace. And
if anything, I mean, it was something so unprecedented, but it really did bring everybody together in that tumultuous sense at the same time, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, and I just really felt like, after all the unrest, the political unrest, with the Trump versus Clinton, and when the Oscars turned into a racial thing, because it was after 2 years of Oscars so white among the acting nominees, and it just was a great moment, like, of all the people in the world to show unity and grace. The most self-absorbed town, full of the most shallow people, Hollywood. They really showed a tremendous amount of unity, and I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think that was like, it went from being the biggest blunder in Oscar history to one of the finest moments in Hollywood. And the great thing about it is this: let's say Moonlight won without all that fanfare, or without all the drama. Let's say La La Land actually won. Who knows? In 5 years, if you ask just average Joe Blow moviegoer, "Hey, what won Best Picture for 2016?" they probably wouldn't remember, or if they did, they'd have to really think about it.
Yeah, they'll remember now.
after this moment, like, no one is ever going to forget that Moonlight won, and they're going to remember both of those films, Moonlight and La La Land, in the same breath for decades.
Sure.
Now here's the thing, guys. So it turned out to be a great moment and all that. Just something to consider. What if it had been the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, the way that, like you were saying, with all the any kind of racial tension or anything like that, I mean, that could be definitely construed in that kind of way.
That would have been awful.
Yeah.
I would have been like, "I am out of here." I would have ran out of there.
Sure.
But no, it all happened the right way, and it was like a perfect storm of things, because it all came down to a blunder by one of the accountants on the side of the stage who handed them the wrong envelope. He handed them the envelope for the previous award winner, and that was Best Actress for Emma Stone for La La Land. So when Faye Dunaway saw the card and said La La Land, that's what she read. But, like, what if, let's say, Isabelle Huppert actually won Best Actress instead of Emma Stone? Then that means that Lauren and Faye would have had the envelope, and it would have said Isabelle Huppert for Elle. Well, Elle wasn't even nominated for Best Picture. So if that's the card that they were looking at, that definitely would have been a bigger tip-off that something was wrong. And they would have said, I think we have the wrong envelope, because there's no way that Elle is Best Picture winner. But and you can tell when they open the envelope that Warren Beatty is looking at the card, and he's like,
yeah,
wait a minute.
And you got to wonder,
you know,
who was just in charge of everything that was going on to, make such a terrible mistake. But while we have you just for another second, we wanted to thank you so much for calling in. And we know that you are a Philly guy. So if you ever find yourself back home again, definitely get a hold of us. Maybe we can have you in the studio. I feel like we could talk to you all day long.
I would love that. That would be great. And thanks for having me on. It was
Anytime,
really a lot of fun. Keep up the great work, fellas.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Scott.
for calling
We
in.
appreciate you
Scott
joining
Mantz, everybody check him out on Access Hollywood, competing in the Movie Trivia Schmodown as well. Thank you so much for calling in, Scott.
All right. Have a great day, fellas.
You
So long.
too. Scott Mantz. When I had met him in New York, he was just one of the most nicest, genuine people that you've ever gotten the chance to meet. So really cool to have him calling in. So a high profile guy.
Yeah,
He's on
definitely.
Access
I wish we
Hollywood.
had more time to really talk to him, because
we need to get him in
He's
the
definitely
studio.
got tons of insight. Just what's going on in the industry.
Absolutely.
Big Marvel guy.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't get to dabble on is the Star Trek.
I know.
Maybe next time he's in the studio.
chomping at the bit to
Maybe
talk
next
Trek.
time, he comes in, we can get him in the studio and we could fly spaceships and stuff. That'd be cool. But we do have our next
Another
call.
guest?
Another guest.
Oh my goodness, we're spoiled with riches
We are
today.
spoiled today.
Uh-oh.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
I don't think he's talking to you, Bill. So while we're waiting for DJ to cue this up, we do want to introduce our next guest.
Yeah.
And Bill, you wanna take this one away?
Absolutely. We have Melissa Ebbe calling in from Syfy Face Off. Melissa, do we have you on the air, Melissa?
Hello.
Hey, can you hear us?
Hi.
How are you today?
I can
Bill.
hear you.
Good. Hey, I'm Bill. We finally got you on the show. We have Sean, my co-host, here
Hello,
today.
hello.
And
Hello.
for those of you who don't know, Melissa is Syfy's contestant from season 10. She's also on the All-Star season as well, and she's owner and creator at Feral Works, where she produces masks, statues, and other film and game-influenced artwork. Melissa, welcome to the Cinescape today. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So, real quick, I want to understand, you're at Transworld today?
Yeah, actually, I'm on my way home right now. But
Okay,
I was
cool.
at Transworld the whole weekend.
Awesome. Now that's one of the biggest Halloween events, I take it?
Yeah, it's a big the trade convention for people who run haunted houses and escape rooms and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, nice.
We were actually just tossing around the idea of doing one of those escape rooms. Have you done one of those recently?
Okay, so here's a confession for you.
Okay.
I've never done a haunted house or an escape room.
Really?
Not even a haunted house?
Not even a haunted house.
Man.
What's keeping you from it?
Hmm?
What's keeping you from doing one?
I'm worried it'll be too scary.
For somebody who creates some scary stuff such as you're afraid to actually go into one of those?
Well, I don't know. It might be too scary.
They're not allowed to touch
I mean,
it.
there's a difference between being on the creating end of it and on the receiving end of it. So.
Definitely. I guess there is a difference there. I mean, I could tell you I would be scared as hell to see one of your works in a haunted house. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the, I would not. I guess I could see where you're coming from, because if you're the one creating some of those things that are in a haunted house, I would definitely think twice about going in one. So I could definitely, I guess, relate to where you're coming from with that. But since we have you on the show, I do want to ask you a little bit about your experience there. So we'll just jump right into it. So you I know you were paired up this season on the All Stars with Kaylin, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now let me
Yeah,
ask.
that's correct.
Let me ask you. So, last season you're on season 10 by yourself. This time you're paired up with somebody. do you feel like you worked better in a team environment or individually?
I think it can go either way. For me, normally I work alone because I'm just I'm an artist, so I work in my basement by myself. That being said, I've been brought in on team projects before, and it can be it's a different dynamic for sure.
Absolutely.
But it's really nice to feed off of each other's creativity. It brings ideas to the table that you wouldn't come up with on your own. So I think they're both great. They're just different.
Different dynamics. Yeah, absolutely. And you see that throughout the course of the season of All-Stars where, not everyone that's picked to work together meshes together. And, certainly certain people go home sooner because they can't collaborate the way that, that you'd like to. There was certainly, I think it was Nico and I'm blanking on her name, but they recently just started like dating over the course of a few seasons, and unfortunately, like coming from somebody who's in a relationship, I was watching the show and I'm like, oh, you know what, they're just gonna let their emotions get in the way, and they're not gonna be able to agree on certain things, and it was funny because the season or the episode that they got eliminated, I was like, oh, you know what? They're just gonna go home and be an angry couple and argue about this.
Oh no, that's not like them at all, though.
I know they seem like such a sweet people.
Of one another.
Yeah, and they seem so sweet.
Well, they actually run a business together.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's not like they don't work together. They fully work together all the time.
I know. I feel like that would be so difficult for me to actually work with my fiance and do something.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
so too.
Yeah. But I agree. I'm more one for working individually. I think that's where
Bill's not a team player.
I'm not a team player. No, I'm a team player. But let me ask you too. Since you're always paired up with your partner throughout the season, is there any out of the three judges, which one of them would you, if you could be paired up with one, would you want to work with?
Oh, that's a tough question. If I had to be paired up with a judge.
Yeah, so out of Glenn, V, and Neville, which one could you see yourself working the best with?
Well, I don't know about working the best, but I think
or most fun, or most creative.
No, it's just they're all so different. Like,
yeah.
I think I'd probably pick Neville just because I really, he's a concept artist. He's brilliant. I really like everything he brings to the table. It'd be really fun to work on a collaborative idea with him.
Yeah.
That being said, I think I really gel well with Glenn.
Yeah.
I think that it would be fun too. So I don't know. I'm not terrible interviewee.
No, you're fine.
Any definite answers. But no, I think that they both do really great. VA didn't get as much feedback from I feel so.
Yeah.
But she is such a huge creative force. And she's been in so many iconic films and everything. I'm sure, just even being around her, I would learn so much. So
yeah. And watching this,
a very democratic answer.
Oh yeah, and watching this season, I feel like V has definitely loosened up over the years. Like with this season, she's made some comments, and I'm really like, this isn't the V Neal that we've seen in the past few seasons. She's definitely made some very blunt comments to people, and I'm really surprised. And you know what? One thing that always strikes me is in the showdown part where all the judges say hi to you, and it's funny to see how intimidated everyone is when by their responses back. Everybody always is intimidated by Glenn. And then, everybody's always, cheery with V. Hey, V. And then everybody's very, subtle with Neville. Hi, Neville. And it's funny that...
I feel like some of that might be the editing.
Yeah.
So I know there was a couple times when I was so nervous, I said people's names wrong.
Yeah.
Because I was just I was anticipating the next judge because I was like, okay, prepare, in my head, prepare to say hello to Glenn, then prepare to say hello to V, and then it'd be like, hi, V, to Glenn. So, I was just so nervous. Because when you're on the stage, you got these huge spotlights on you. There's cameramen everywhere. It is very intimidating.
I can imagine.
So, yes, but we did have to occasionally do multiple takes because someone, like myself, screwed up.
Why? What did you do?
Like when I would say the wrong name.
Oh, okay.
And stutter or something like that. Like, just because you get so nervous on the stage.
Yeah. And you know, I hate it every time because when you're at the end there and Glenn is always the one that says, tonight's winner is, and then it's that long pause that goes to a commercial break, and I always find myself cursing at my television. I'm like, "Damn it, Glenn!" and I'm really sitting there wondering, like, what's that?
The winner is the commercial.
Yeah, the commercial. It's the Wendy's Baconator. Thanks.
Everybody wins when you purchase one of those.
Yeah. and I can only imagine how long it actually is of a delay on on the in the studio there. So I'm cursing at my TV when that happens. But I can only imagine the anticipation it takes.
There's a little bit of a delay. There's a little bit of anticipation.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just because you're in the moment and on the stage, but it seems like it takes forever between Glenn saying, and the winner is.
Yeah.
And then it's just like,
Well, now,
yeah.
Now you got to, the show definitely takes you through a lot of different feels, a lot of different emotions, and it definitely takes you to. You guys get to do a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool challenges that may take you to certain places and see certain things. What have been some highlights for you throughout the past 2 seasons that have really been, an experience for you?
Oh boy, I don't know. There's so many. You're asking hard questions.
All right, Melissa. What's your favorite beer?
A lot of the guest judges was that was probably. I mean, it's not really going to a location, but getting to meet some of the guest judges.
Yeah.
And Lance Henriksen was so cool and so down to earth, and he was such a good kidder. And when we had to clear the stage to get set up for the next shot, I ran back in and I just ran up to Lance Henriksen. I'm like, look, I'm a huge fan. I watched Aliens. I even watched Millennium. I watch all these shows with you, and I'm just so honored that you had a chance to look at my work. And they're trying to shoo me out. They're like, listen, you're not allowed to be here right now. But I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to say how I felt to one of my heroes. So
absolutely,
definitely the guest judges I think was probably the highlight for me. Just getting and for me being from Wisconsin, where there's not a huge FX community,
right?
The opportunity to show my work to people in that industry, I would have never gotten that opportunity otherwise.
Yeah, it's definitely huge.
It's so huge, important, and that's why I went on the show.
So, since you just brought up Aliens, I'm gonna just detract real quickly here. But are you excited for the new Alien Covenant movie?
Oh, I'm so excited for the Alien Covenant.
Because this is one movie that we continuously talk about.
Opinion time. I love Prometheus.
I did
so
too.
Really
I love Prometheus.
Yeah,
them both come together.
Sean and I were big fans of Prometheus.
Gotta watch the director's cut with all the added in footage.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So good. And it's much more subtle. I get why people who thought it was going to be another Aliens movie might be upset. But it's just so good. And it's got all this, if you start, looking in the background, the murals when they're in the spaceship, it explains the story of the aliens.
Yeah.
And, how they come about. And, I just thought it was such a cool film.
Have you seen the new poster that came out for that the other day?
Which one?
There's a new poster that just came out for it the other day. I know we posted it on our social media.
Good.
Oh my God, it's it looks like a mural. I mean, that's something that I would want blown up and put on my wall. I mean, that photo is so amazing. The way all the xenomorphs are wrapped around the engineer and looking up at the sun. I mean, it's really something cool.
So good. I know. I'm I would love the opportunity to work on one of those films. I'll even just sweep the floors. I just want to be there.
Now, has H.R. Giger been any kind of an inspiration to you in terms of what you've been creating?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how could he not be? He's just such an icon. And you have to remember, when Alien came out, no one had ever seen a design like that before. It just
Right.
it changed the whole industry. He is such a hero of art. And if you've seen Dark Star I think it's on Netflix right now, but it's like a documentary about his life and everything like that. And if you just watch, he's so humbling in a way because he's so down to earth and just like really excited about what he does. And I was just I was so inspired after watching that documentary that I made a mask like based on Eager's work. So, he's just such an icon.
Since you've been on 2 seasons of Face Off now, how would you say that the show has impacted your personal and professional life?
Well, it's hard. I'm still in Wisconsin. I'm trying to move out to LA. So I would like to get a little bit more industry work. People obviously know who I am more, but it's not like it's going to my head or anything.
Oh, no, I mean, like in terms of, what kind of doors that it's opened up for you.
I was on TV.
Yeah. Oh, you could. That's what Bill and I do. Oh, yeah, we do an internet radio show.
Actually, the funniest thing is, like, when I go out with my kids, like the conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
So my son, he was on the finale of Face Off, the season 10 finale, and they brought him in to surprise me. Anyway, so he thinks it's normal now to be on TV. And so like, we'll go to a convention, and like people will stop me for pictures and everything. And he's like, "Mom, what's the big deal? I was on Face Off too."
He's riding your coattails to fame.
Oh, no, he was the star according to him. So.
Does your son then expect you to create, cool costumes for him for Halloween and for conventions and stuff?
Well, it's funny because sometimes he doesn't give me a lot of turnaround time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well,
he's like, I wanted this yesterday.
Yeah. Mom, just so you know, I'm getting together with some friends over the weekend, and I need to look like a xenomorph by Saturday. Can you make that happen? Great.
No. But for example, this past Halloween,
yeah,
he was going to be BMO from Adventure Time.
Okay.
And my husband and he had made a whole BMO costume. And then the day before Halloween, he's like, "No, I want to be Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's." So I fabricated him a whole mascot head the day before trick-or-treating.
Oh, boy.
Because I couldn't find anything in stores because everything has been sold out.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to know the difference between the quality or anything, but so I ended up fabricating him this whole gigantic head, and he was scaring everybody.
Oh, wow.
It ended up being a huge hit at Halloween, but I'm like, oh, can't do that too often. That's
Yeah.
too fast of a turnaround.
So like we were saying, you were on back-to-back seasons of the show. What was it like in terms of the filming schedule and being away from your family for extended periods of time like that?
It's really hard. I don't recommend it. I think that it's the thing that people don't understand about a reality TV show, and I'm sure it's the way with a lot of reality TV shows, is that you're sort of isolated from the world. And, you're not really able to have contact with your family. So, like, I was isolated from my family for that time, and it's like you don't really have that support network. So, like,
Yeah.
in a real-life situation, you have a bad day at work, you come home, you bitch about it. Sorry, you're angry about it.
No.
And then,
Feel free to
Melissa,
curse away.
Yeah, we're completely uncensored.
This
here.
is toxic radio here. You can curse all you want.
I didn't know. So you come home, you complain about it, you get it off your chest, and you go back and do another day at work. Well, in this situation, you don't really ever get that decompression time.
Yeah.
Because you go back home, you're hanging out with the castmates, who are wonderful people. And I gotta say, I love all of my castmates, like from both seasons. Like, they are still some of the best friends I have, and they're truly inspiring individuals. But all you have to talk about is what you did in the shop.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the workday just continues.
Yeah.
You can't kick back and watch TV. You can't do any of the things you would normally do. So I think that people don't necessarily get how strenuous that can be psychologically.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anybody from
then
the show that you still keep in close contact with?
Oh, yeah. Like, pretty much. There's a good chunk of them I do. I contact regularly. And that's one of the cool things about Face Off is, especially with the All-Star season, I'm with all these incredible artists. So, I pretty regularly, will share whatever I'm working on with them and be like, hey, check this out, got any feedback? And it's it's that artist community that I really wanted And granted, I wish I were a little bit closer physically, but it's still nice that I can reach out and share my work with them and get feedback.
Yeah, it's definitely huge. Sean and I like to refer to ourselves as artists from time to time.
Sure,
and,
why not?
And we always we always appreciate any advice and any critiquing that we can certainly take on. And
Usually we get like, oh, your show sucks.
yeah, like you guys are only funny when you're drunk.
That's a good point. Like critiques. Like I think that people. Okay, having gone through art school, I spent 7 years in art school.
You're like an art
doctor. You learn how to take a critique. You learn how to, what critiques to listen to and what critiques to maybe not listen to.
Sure, surely.
And I think that that's a big thing, is that people, they get a little too hung up on the critiques, or they take them too personally. Like every time I went before the judges, I just wanted their opinion.
Yeah.
Because I respect their work. I respect what they've done in the industry. And I know that no matter what they say, I'm going to learn from it. And, I might not have always agreed with what they said, but I think that there was always like a lesson there. There was always something to be learned from what they told us. So I think that people, if you're an artist, like be aware of what you can gain from a critique, parse out what you need. And sometimes, if it's just some random on the internet,
yeah.
maybe you don't need to listen to that opinion.
Yeah. Like, who are you?
Some 13-year-old punk sitting in your parents' basement.
You respect your idols and, learn from them.
Surely, absolutely.
Don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley. So, Melissa, I want to ask you too. We talked before the show even. There's a lot of movies and television shows that you're certainly into, and we just obviously talked about Aliens, which we're certainly pumped up about. Is there any franchises out there right now that you would really love the opportunity to just express your work through and be a part of right now?
Franchises?
Yeah, obviously Alien, is a big one, but
yeah, for sure, Aliens would be right up there at the top, like hands down. Anything, I would really treasure the opportunity to work with Guillermo del Toro. I mean, like his, like the kaiju on Pacific Rim. Oh, I'd love to work on those, like just sculpting them. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you won't have to do any work on Hellboy 3.
And all of his more fantasy-based work is just so gorgeous and beautiful. So if I ever have an opportunity to work with him, if you by any chance listening, I'll do it for free.
Guillermo del Toro, just in case you're out there, we have an intern for you that is willing to work for
we
for
actually
free.
have him calling in next week. We'll pass that along.
Okay.
We'll throw your resume out there on monster.com for Guillermo del Toro. Now you told me too you're a big fan of It's Always Sunny, right? You
I didn't catch that last part.
told me you're a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh yeah, of course.
So, being that we're right outside of Philadelphia, what is it about the show that really reels you in? Because, everybody's got a different reason as to why they like this show. And it's, we just talked about it last week because we think it's on its last leg here because Glenn Howerton said that he doesn't know if he's going to be coming back to the show. So,
they have been doing it for, 11 years now?
No, actually, this would be
That's
13.
Crazy.
13 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish they would go on forever, but as people, especially with people who play such awful people, I can understand what maybe you'd want to break from it.
Yeah, when you play the the seedy underbelly of society for so long, I could be certain that it takes a toll. And I think the only one that it hasn't affected was Danny DeVito, because he's the only one that's still going around and acting like his true-to-life character. Because I don't know if you follow him on social media, but he pretty much just goes to concerts nowadays and shows his bare ass to people and offends every one of his fans. So I think he's the only one that's true to life to his character. Everyone else, I think, is pretty much at that point where it's like, you're either settled down with your life a little bit or you're just interested in moving on to something else. And I think that's what it is for a lot of the characters on that show. So it's certainly sad to see it come to an end. But do you have a favorite episode or a favorite character from the show?
Well, obviously Charlie.
Yes.
I cosplay as him.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Is there
cat wearing kitten mittens?
Really? I'm interested. I'm interested to seeing pictures of this.
I will send you a picture as soon as I get off the phone.
That is awesome.
No, I do cosplay as Charlie pretty regularly. So he's obviously my favorite.
That's awesome.
Favorite episode. I think the one it's a real early one. I think it's season 2, where the gang gets addicted to crack. That one's up there.
Children, you're crackheads.
Oh, that's great.
And also, I really enjoyed the football one. With the introduction of the Green Man, and
Yes,
I was actually at the taping of that episode. The first time we saw Green Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see the taping of that episode. I saw
all the McCoyles and
I saw Dee get hit in the face with that dodgeball like 10 different times. And they had to it was hitting her so hard and it hurt her so bad they had to keep deflating the ball to get less air in it because she had all that makeup on and you can see her face is still getting red from it. It was hilarious. I felt so bad for her though.
They are dedicated. I'll give them that. They are dedicated actors.
It's definitely a great show. Yeah, and it's sad that it sounds like it's coming to an end, but everything has its time and its day. And
though, I think that this past season was really strong. Like
it was. I loved it.
It was
strong characters. I don't think that if anything, they're going to go out with a bang. They're not going to go out like just
for sure.
Stop watching.
Yeah, like Glenn was saying in that interview, we might see a hiatus between the next season. So I mean, we could probably see maybe a year or two in between seasons 12 and 13. But like we were saying, like if it is going to be done, we want to see the cast all together. Like we don't want to see Glenn go off the show and not see anybody or like have anybody else not
like
on
the
it.
Office where Steve Carell left kind of.
Yeah, I mean the show loses its luster and its charm after that, and that's not what you want.
Definitely. Sean, you got me off guard there. You're like,
anyway, back to you, Bill.
Definitely caught me with a quiet moment there. So I mean, we're excited to to have you on the show, and Melissa, as we wrap up here, we certainly would love to have you on again soon because there's just so much to talk about with you. I do want to just, before we let you go, just ask you about your company, Feral Works, and I want to ask you what you have going on with that right now and if there's anything that we should keep a lookout for right now in the future.
And feel free to plug anything that you'd need to.
Well, I'm always working on cool shit. I mean, I get to kind of do what I want. And my motto is I like to make stuff and I hope people buy it.
Yeah, that's a good business approach.
That's like us. We hope people listen.
That's fun. Huh?
I said that's like us. We do our show and we hope people listen.
Yeah, exactly. But let's see. Next month, April 7th through 9th, I think, is Monster Palooza in Pasadena, California.
Okay, cool.
And I will be doing a sculpting demonstration there where I will try to bang out a mask sculpture in a day. So
nice.
We're going to see how that goes. And do live sculpting. And I'm hoping if I can get my act together, I will debut a new costume there.
Awesome.
So assuming that everything goes well with that, I will have something big and crazy to show off.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us in tune about that so we can definitely follow your progress with that and get that out there to everyone.
Yeah.
We'd love to see your work in action.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
No, I'm staying active. I mean, everyone, it's so funny. They're like, I'm so sad Melissa and Kaylin are gone from the show. And like, I get it. You get emotionally attached to us on the show, but I'm like, dude, we're not dead.
Right.
I'm still making work, I promise. Like, I know I'm not on TV anymore, but I'm not dead.
Right. And we want to continue. If this is your moment to make this sound like a vigil, we would like to carry on the spirit of Melissa from Face Off as the world turns here.
Remember me.
So I mean, we definitely want to continue. Making the audience aware that you are still alive and kicking. And in doing so, we'd like it if you could share your work with us, so we can keep track of everything that you got going on. It's always a pleasure.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. We would love to have you on again soon just to talk. You have
sure.
You're obviously a very cool person to just talk to and catch up about.
That's very kind of you. I'm incredibly nerdy. I don't know if people realize that because it kind of edits me down in the show.
No, and
that's why we wanted to have you on.
Right,
really nerdy.
No, we want nerdy. So let us know what other nerdy shit we could talk about next time. I mean, I don't know if you're. I just like I told Sean, last week, like a couple weeks ago, I just went out and bought like a fully functioning Iron Man helmet because, what do you do with supplemental income in your 30s other than just buy, nerdy random stuff? So
that makes complete sense. You buy nerdy stuff and then you wear it around the house while you're.
He wears it while he's driving. Too.
Yeah, I wore it while I was driving one day. I was just like, I want to see how people are going to react when they turn their head in traffic and see Iron Man looking at them. So
I'd be like, I guess I could say, fuck yeah.
That guy who tried to fight us in the parking lot would have thought twice.
Yeah, for sure. like Melissa.
I swear a lot normally, but I'm like, am I on radio? I don't know if I should swear.
No, you're fully clear to swear and stuff. And I had bought a special effects lightsaber a couple months ago. It was on sale it was on sale after Christmas, so I picked one up, and for like the first 2 weeks, I would walk my dog with it at night, and I would just walk around with the lightsaber in the parking lot. And people were probably
my neighbors, I've lived in the same place for about 10 years now.
Okay.
And at first, I think they're kind of weirded out by me, but now it's just like, yeah, it's normal. That's Melissa. Do her thing.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely the nerd walking around my apartment complex with lightsabers and Iron Man helmets on, so I don't know what they think of me at this point. But
Honey, what is he doing out there
today? If I
today?
walk around my neighborhood with a lightsaber, I'd grab my lightsaber and be like, we have to fight.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Definitely. It would totally be a Jedi showdown at
And if I saw it, I'd play some theme music to go along with it.
Yes. Oh my God. So I mean, Melissa, we definitely have to have you on again soon. I think there's just tons of stuff that we can nerd out about.
Or if you find yourself in the Philadelphia area, maybe we can get you in the studio.
Yeah.
Too.
Do you come out to Philly at all for any events?
I went once about 12 years ago. Saw the Lunar Museum.
Well, we got Wizard World Comic Con coming up this summer.
Huh?
We have Wizard World Comic Con coming up this summer. Just saying.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
and Monster Mania will be in August.
Yeah.
Monster Mania in August. Yes. Decisions.
We're enticing you.
I will send me some more information about that.
We'll send you some links.
So, Melissa, thanks again for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Guys, check Melissa out on Twitter.
Yeah, Melissa, where can we find you online?
Yeah, give us the lowdown of where we can find you.
Well, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all under Feral Works, my business.
Yes.
And then I have a website. It's melissaebbe.com. And it's just I try to update it for my portfolio. So it's a little bit less dynamic than Instagram, and you get less pictures of my dog, but
Well, we'll make sure that we share all those links along with the video in the show notes for that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Perfect. Everyone, thank you for listening today. Melissa, once again, thank you for joining us today. We hope your Sunday is fun-filled, and we'll get all that information out to the crowds and masses. And hopefully we can get you back on soon, and we'll catch up.
All
right. Well,
yeah, she was definitely really cool to talk to.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to ask her. I'm like, maybe you could make us like a handmade thing for us, like Cinescape theme.
Right? How cool would that be?
We could have right here on the table.
Sculpture of some sort.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I lost you. Sorry.
Oh, Melissa's back! Hey!
Oh my God, we thought we lost you, and then you're still
Bill
there.
started talking all this shit as soon as you hung up.
Oh, well, I get it. Okay.
Now, we were just saying, maybe I don't know if this would be possible if you ever had it in your time allotment, but if you could maybe make us something small to that we could display on camera for our show, maybe movie themed or something like that. That'd be be something
rad.
really cool to have.
Okay, that's what we can do.
So if you have the spare time, you find yourself done doing an internet radio interview one day, and you're looking for something to do.
She's like, I found all this junk and I put it together because I thought it accurately.
I got the blowtorch out and just put all my trash together.
Oh.
She's like, I found a couple trash cans left over and I welded them together because it accurately depicted your show. So here you go.
Oh, no.
No, it's okay, Melissa. We're just being a little cynical. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. It's hard not to be cynical after being on reality TV for 2 seasons.
Yeah. I can imagine that would probably lead to some very drinking related habits. I'm sure. I mean, at least I would.
Yeah, I'm trying to curb that a little bit, but yeah.
Easy on the wine.
Yeah. Well, I'm a parent also, and the way I understand it is that if you're a mom, you're supposed to drink wine,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Totally.
my fiance does.
Yeah. You have wine nights. Every woman has wine night now. It's
Yeah, that's what I hear.
It's
So
the thing. to
DJ
do.
has wine night too,
myself,
apparently.
right?
My fiance comes home from having a bad day, and she's like, "Listen, I deserve this bottle of wine." I'm like, "Hey, totally, absolutely."
I don't think it goes that smoothly.
Goes as smoothly as this Miller Lite we're enjoying today. So since Sean asked for the Cinescape project, we'll have to follow your progress for that. Since you just made Melissa commit to
Put her on the spot.
a project for us.
Project. You want a full on project? I mean, I could probably send you some artwork or some prints or something.
Yeah, that something small would be totally fine.
Okay.
We're not gonna get this the giant crate in the mail that we have to sign for with straw in it.
It's the Cinescape Mecha Warrior armor that you request.
Fragile.
Yeah, French. Italian. All right. Well, cool. I'm probably gonna hit the road again. Are we done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, yeah. We thought
We've been done for half an hour.
Okay. No, I'm driving home from Transworld, which is in St. Louis, and I'm driving back to Wisconsin. So I'm in the middle of Illinois, and let me tell you, I do not look like I belong here.
Oh dear. Well, for the sake of you getting it, safely through Illinois and any sketchy areas, we will let you go. Please check in with us so we know that you made it home safely. We hear Chicago is pretty treacherous, so
And windy.
yes.
Nah, I get to live there. It's fine.
Well, be safe in your travels. We don't mean to hold you up any further, but thank you again, Melissa, for joining us today, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Melissa.
All right. Melissa Ebbe.
All right. Back to you.
Now that we gave a proper send off, again, like we were saying, she is such a cool chick to talk to. Another one, if she could ever make it out to the East Coast here, maybe for Wizard World Comic Con or
See, Philadelphia is just not a place that's on the map.
Yeah, we're like second tier.
And you know what? And Philadelphia always hits that
I
category.
think that's why we're so angry.
Right, because we're always just number 6 for something. You notice that?
Well, number 1 in obesity.
Right, but number 6 for everything else.
We're right in the middle between Philadelphia and Baltimore.
Yeah.
We always get the shit end of the stick.
Right.
We're like the redheaded stepchild.
We
in an
either
all-black
get
family.
the really good concert stop or we just missed
Yeah.
the concert stop.
And we've been missing them a lot lately.
Yeah,
Well,
but you know what?
concert stops have been
But you know what?
jumping over
This
us.
year has been huge for concerts.
Yeah.
This is a big year.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I'm gonna go right into it. It's gonna be
heard Trump all day.
It's gonna be a huge year for concerts. Okay, some of my favorites coming to town are Robin Thicke. Okay, Robin Thicke is coming to town. Justin Biebs, the Bieber.
Stop it!
I'm not. Listen, I'm not stopping. Not now. Not ever. Metallica.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
No bullshit. Metallica is coming to town this summer, early in May. I'm gonna go see them because you know what? Nothing else matters. That's right. It's a terrible plug I just made, but I made it. Okay.
You son of a bitch.
Listen, don't tell me how to use my money. I'm going to go see them in concert. Okay, and then Hall & Oates.
Ooh.
Hall & Oates is actually coming around also. Sean, did you know, Sean, that Rod Stewart is actually performing this summer with Joan Jett?
I did know that.
How are you not going to that concert?
When is it?
I don't know.
All right, well, you figure it out and let me know.
Well, there's a ticket master out there. I don't know where he's located, but he's somewhere in the hills of Appalachia, and he apparently can get you any ticket to any show that's out there. He's called the Ticket Master, okay? And he's apparently got his own website now. It's called Ticketmaster.com.
Oh, good for you.
I know. And apparently you can find any show, anywhere, anytime. It's quite phenomenal.
All right, well, I'll check the master out.
Talk to the Ticketmaster. Tell him I sent you. He knows me very well. Okay, I've gotten shows for anywhere from Kenny G to Warren G, and everywhere in between. Okay, I got
How about G Love?
G Love, B Love, B Diggit, B Diggity, Diggity No Doubt. They're all there. They're all phenomenal. If you like more of the urban type of shows, they're out there. If you like rock and roll, some without the roll, some with more rock, it's totally out there. You could go see it. Who did I see recently? I believe it was I don't know, but it was somewhere in China, and it was a great show. It was a lot of bing bang, bing bang bang, bing bang. But I seen Guns N' Roses.
Ooh.
Axl Rose. He's a little fat. He's quite portly.
You egg-sucking piece of gutter trash.
Yes, I almost called him that, but, he was quite out of breath, and so I didn't say that. But, there's a lot of shows out there. Go talk to the Ticketmaster. He'll get you right where you need to be.
All right, I'm going to do that.
Yes.
You know what I did want to talk about?
What did you want to talk about? Did you want to talk about it with the Donald?
No, not really.
Okay, well, I'm short for time anyway. I had to go, and Melania needs a butthole waxing, so I'm going to go take her to that right now. So I will catch back up with you if you need me. Call me on my cell phone. It's like that Drake song. Call me on my cell phone. Doot, 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 doot. So if you need me, the number is 616 Donald. It's a custom number. I had them specifically give that number to me. I actually had the number taken away from another customer who was part of Bell AT&T, which is no longer around anymore. But
is that Ma Bell?
It's it was part
the heart of communication.
Yes. Well, I bought the number out. I also own 8675309. In case you didn't know that, that was actually one of my first orders of business as becoming the president. I needed to have that number, so anybody looking for Jenny could call 867-5309, and it will come right to my personal cell phone. Yes, a lot of people don't know that.
All right. Well, thank you.
But I'm going to go. I have to meet the Prime Minister of China.
China.
And I'll talk to you soon. Good to see you guys on the Cinescape. Yes.
Well, thank you, President Trump, for stopping in your weekly visit.
Yes.
Here. We are not going to be able to get to any news movie-wise. Yeah, we do have some things. We'll save them for another time. We'll save them for a rainy day. But we do want to talk Power Rangers while we still have a couple minutes. Bill, you and I had gotten the chance to see Power Rangers.
Yeah, we got to
earlier this
pre-screen
week.
it since we're the Cinescape and we do cool shit like that, like pre-screens.
Real quick, so we're big shots in the entertainment industry now. So we get to the theater and we had these screening passes.
Right.
And I'm waiting in line with all the other average schmucks and Pat Mahoney, our judge, our
correspondent in the field.
Yeah, I get a call from him, and he's like, "Where are you at?" And I'm like, "I'm waiting in line." And he's like, "Oh, we'll come up here. We got advanced seats." I'm like, or reserved seats. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, I just said we were here for the Cinescape. We were pressed, and they have 4 seats for us." So I'm like, all right, well, there we go. We had our own little
little
box.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man.
So we're kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal, I thought the movie was cool. It was.
I hope you have some Vulcan Skull music queued up too. By the way,
I didn't have that.
What else you got?
Shit.
Uh-oh.
Where is it?
We're going to replay this one. Yeah, some Goldar clips for us. Rangers.
I don't have it.
You don't got it? Oh, no.
I had it queued up. The movie was good. Was it great? No. And part of that is the fact that this movie definitely tried to reboot a franchise that was meant for teenagers. So it definitely wasn't meant for adults. And in doing so, I definitely felt a little bit like a fish out of water watching the movie because nostalgic in a sense, yes. However, was it geared towards people our age? No, not at all. And certainly, as you're watching the movie,
there we go, baby. There was no Vulcan Skull.
There was no Vulcan Skull.
That's for damn sure. There was that stupid bully for a minute.
Yeah.
But he was no Bulk and or Skull.
Neither Bulkish or Skull.
No.
So I felt like there was a lot more that could be done to establish Angel Grove.
Sure.
The
Ernie's Juice Bar.
Ernie's Juice Bar. The teenagers. But I get it. And the fact that this movie did run for 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like 2 hours and 4 minutes, especially considering we had just seen Logan a couple weeks prior, and that felt for a movie that was
longer.
For a movie that was 2 hours and I think 11, 12 minutes. Felt like it was like 3 hour movie. So this movie definitely was able to establish the characters. One thing though is that it just felt like once it became time to become Power Rangers, it
took too long to get there.
It took a long time to get there, and it was very little time of them actually being Power Rangers. And when they were Power Rangers, it just felt like there was no consequences to their actions. There was all this buildup as to how they need to learn to, work with one another. But then when they were Power Rangers, it was just like, oh, all right, well, we're just teenagers and we can just destroy whatever we want to do as Power Rangers. And there was no learning of the consequences as Power Rangers.
Like we had been talking about this a little bit earlier, the same kind of thing happens in the first Avengers movie. The city gets destroyed. you don't see any repercussions from it in that movie, but we know from all the news that was coming out this week, they are planning 5 more Power Rangers movies in the franchise, so you very well could see exactly what you were just saying, the repercussions of the damage to the city play a major part in the next movie, a la
I don't
Avengers.
know if that would happen, though, considering that the focus is
I mean, I
going to be
think
Green Ranger for the next one.
That is true. Spoiler alert. But
not much to anybody who's watched the show.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Spoiler.
Like I wrote a review the night that we came home, and I was posting it online to different Facebook groups and things like that, so they could read and find our page. And I'm like, mild spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen the movie yet. And the guy's like, well, I mean, the show's been around for 25 years. I'm like, well, you just want to be courteous to people.
Yeah.
Some younger people who maybe haven't seen it. See, this is exactly what the movie was missing.
I literally watched the old Power Rangers movie a couple days ago just because, leading
so
up to
bad.
this.
Right.
It's so bad. And then the CGI was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they put Ivan Ooze in the fucking mechanical monster and his face is just flat as can be and the body is all 3D. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, man. But
I miss that cheesiness.
For what the movie did and tried to do, I mean, I really did appreciate it. I mean, I was excited to see it.
I felt like the sound, first off, like some of the sound effects and stuff like that, just I felt like they didn't mesh well. Like there was certain things like you got Fits and the Tantrums, hand clap song in the
they
beginning.
definitely wanted it to be a more modern.
Yeah,
take.
and I
that's
thought
fine.
I thought that was a good touch there, but then I felt like the Go-Go Power Rangers sound clip was just...
See, that made me smile.
It made me smile, but I felt like it was just thrown in there.
Shoehorned in there a little bit.
It was just thrown in there very, very cheesily. Like, all right, like, I felt like that needed to have a build-up for that song to come in. And
I mean, it kind of did because it took an hour and 45 minutes to get to that point.
Yeah, but that's like...
But definitely, like, I agree with a lot of the things you're saying. Like, they did take way too long to get the Power Rangers actually in their suits.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was good because you got a lot of character development and building at the same time. So you get a lot of their backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one thing that movie did for me personally, it really, and I wrote this in my review too, it really warmed my heart. The character of Billy, who is an African-American in this
I love the
incarnation,
character of Billy.
He was probably the best Ranger in the whole movie.
Absolutely.
The best character.
I agree with you, hands
and
down.
I loved how he was autistic.
Yeah.
Right away. He's telling, I forget who he's talking, maybe Kimberly or something at the beginning of the movie, and he says right away that I'm on the spectrum, so I'm not going to understand some of your jokes and things like that right away or at all. And I was a teacher before, the last couple of years, last 6-7 years.
Former life.
In a past life, I was a teacher, physical education teacher. So something like that really sticks near and dear to my heart. Having worked with children from all types of backgrounds and things like that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was something really special that movie did, for that community as well. Something that somebody who is autistic or on the spectrum can really relate to and make their own to show, hey, not feel like they're outcasted or different or anything else like that. So that was really, really awesome for me personally. But other than that, I mean, the movie did have its problems. It took a while to get to the morphing and everything, like as we were saying. But the character interactions were really great. I mean, there's a lot of jokes in there that maybe the younger viewers weren't gonna get, but
I thought some of the jokes.
Older people
I thought
did.
some of the jokes were a tad more adult-like.
Oh, sure.
But that's the perfect thing about movies like this is that teenagers
it can be for kids, but liked by the older generations.
And
as
not
well.
only that, it's something that a kid who's a teenager right now watching this movie and getting into it for all the right reasons, when they rewatch this in 5 years and they're older,
they're going to pick up on something.
they'll understand that joke now and they'll appreciate it.
And how many times have you gone back and watched a movie, that
Tons.
wasn't for you at the time, like in 80s or early 90s
Spaceballs.
movies.
There were so many
like
jokes
you go
in
back and watch these
Spaceballs.
movies again as an older person, and you're like, oh my god, like I had never picked
you're
up
like,
on
oh,
that.
that's dirty.
Like when I was 10, I didn't understand
that.
that joke, but now I do.
Yeah,
you know,
it's fun.
So it's definitely gonna bring that sense of rewatchability for that kind of factor there. What else?
But you know what? This movie, it was honestly not meant for people like us. I will say that. Come on.
I don't know if I can agree with that.
It's meant for teenagers. When you, they
are the
Well, yeah,
teenagers.
but when you watch a movie like this, and you're talking about the Blue Ranger being autistic, and you're talking about a lot of these social issues that a teenager's going to deal with in high school, you can relate to it because you've been there and done that. But this franchise is meant to kick it off with kids that are in their teens, stuff like that, and are going to be able to grow with this franchise over the next 8 years or so.
Well, sure. Let's not make any mistake. These kids aren't 13 years old.
Right.
They're seniors in high school.
Right. But they're portraying a certain time frame where obviously we're just out of the element. We'll go and watch it because
Donnie, you are out of your element.
we'll go and watch it because it's Power Rangers.
Sure.
And
it's got that nostalgic factor.
Right. But at the same time, franchises nowadays all try and capitalize on a younger market.
Sure.
So when they get older, you have already made most of your money off it. So, this is trying to just capitalize on a more youthful market, reestablish the brand. And Goldar, of course.
That was very unexpected.
Rangers.
I was saying this earlier, but
You will soon pledge your allegiance to me.
Oh my God! There was none of that Goldar in the movie. Goldar was a mute, and he was really gold. He was actually made of gold. He was made of 24
they
karat gold.
sucked all the gold out of the planet. And
Right,
But I was saying this earlier. I've been trying to get a hold of
what's his name?
the gentleman who voiced Goldar in the original '90s series. His name is Kerrigan Mahan.
Call it to the Cinescape. You will not be
And that's exactly what I want. I want like a show intro of him doing the Goldar voice, and also have him on as an interview too, which would be really fun. But if you somehow
No way, Goldar. No way.
if you somehow know Mr. Mahan there, slip him some information about our show and tell him that you want us to interview him. But we generally did enjoy the movie. I mean, I gave my review I gave it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, not bad, not great, but it was enjoyable for me.
Right.
Bill, if you had to give it a number score, what would you give it?
I give it a 6.8.
Okay, also pretty good. Okay.
We shall soon see.
That could be the greatest voice of all time.
I love how the audio in the original never really matched up with them either.
No, not at all. It's the mouth moving like, yeah.
So, if you haven't already checked out Power Rangers, make sure you go see it, and then check out our Facebook page or website or Twitter or wherever.
Wherever you find us.
So you can read a review. We are going to get out of here for today. Holy shit, we're like 2 hours in almost. That's crazy. We had
Didn't
some...
seem like it.
Nah. We had some really, really cool guests.
Do you even recognize yourself, Tommy?
Do you even lift, bro?
Bill, I think you're gonna have to Balkan Skulls out while you're playing with the clips here. But we did have two really phenomenal, terrific, incredible guests. Thank you again to Scott Mantz for calling in, as well as Melissa Ebbe. You guys were such a joy and blast to talk to. We really had a great time speaking with you. If you're ever in the Philadelphia area, Scott, we know that you are a Northeast Philly guy. Woo! Your parents live in Warminster still. Come on into the studio.
You, Scott. This is Goldar speaking. I will find you and bring the Rangers to doom. Rita.
So before Goldheart takes over the rest of the studio, we just wanted to say thank you guys for listening.
Cinescape.
We will not be on air next week.
Not on air.
But in 2 weeks, Saturday, April, what's that, 7th? April 8th?
The 8th.
April 8th, we will be doing a live broadcast from Nostalgia Fest 2017.
Live Rangers.
So make sure you get your tickets to Nostalgia Fest by going to NozFest.com.
Go to NozFest.com.
Come in and see 80s and 90s celebrities like Tia Carrere, Dennis Hoskins,
Gary Busey,
Jake Busey,
Donald Gibb,
Vanessa Angel,
and more.
So come on in, see those celebrities, say hi to us. We're going to be doing some fun things while we are there. Make sure you're checking us out online on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can see links to all of our show notes at the description of this video. And make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. For